So there's a mishmash of laws, regulations, and standards. Also important, and there are some standards in the U.S. on processed foods on that. That don't necessarily have to be in the countries that we operate in. Again, a lack of standardization on that, or a lack of, even if there's a standard, what's the enforceability of any standards that are out there in the countries where we operate, or for that matter, even in the U.S. I mean, our food laws and our food safety laws tend to be reactive rather than proactive as far as prevention goes. So I think it's a much wider issue than what we're doing. This is only a small part, basically, but an important part, particularly as far as aflatoxin goes. And again, my concern on the other mycotoxins, or my organization's concern on the other mycotoxins as well. I think it's going to be extremely important. I mean, we're not going to be subjecting our recipients or beneficiaries to undue harm caused by, again, aflatoxin in particular. There's a wide literature on aflatoxin. The other mycotoxins, the literature is not as great. I'm hoping that if we find from this testing that the problem doesn't appear to exist at this point in time, that there wouldn't necessarily have to be a rigid scheme of testing necessarily. And I think that we won't find a problem, to be honest with you, in the procurement of the goods that we've scheduled to buy in local and regional purchases in the Sahelian countries, for example, Niger or Mali or Burkina Faso. There we're concentrating on a relatively small-grained and hard-husked or hard pericarped grains such as millet and sorghum, where I don't think we're going to find much mold growth and much toxin production. There are other areas, such as Benin or coastal areas in West Africa, where I think it's going to be much more of a problem, and we're going to have to build up capacity in order to make sure, if we're going to be buying food, that we're going to be buying safe food. Again, my expectation is that we will find some problems in those areas that are particularly susceptible to mold growth, those where there's high humidity, and the type of substrate that the molds grow on is the more acceptable food, maize being more accessible and acceptable in the coastal countries than in the Sahelian countries.